The Trailblazer is somewhat similar to the Traveler from Genshin Impact, in that with every planet they explore, the Trailblazer or main character gains a new path. At the very beginning, they first obtain the Path of Destruction with the Baseball Bat of Destiny. Later on in Belobog, the Aeon of Preservation Klipoth blessed the main character with the power of the Flaming Lance, making him a preservation tank. But in the most current story in the xianzhou luofu, it seems that two different Aeons may be involved, Lan of the Hunt and Yaoshi of the Abundance. Because there are two Aeons involved here, what would the next path be for the Trailblazer? Would they side with Lan to become a Hunt character, or will we actually see a healer main character if they decide to side with Yaoshi? Let's talk about that. Before we do though, if you want to see more Honkai Star Rail content, do consider subscribing to the channel. If you weren't caught up with the story so far, or maybe just wasn't paying attention, here's a short recap. Basically, the citizens of the Xianzhou Alliance all used to be associated with the Aeon of Abundance, Yaoshi. This is how they obtained their long lives and near immortality. However, due to this endless life, it ended up creating more problems as basic resources such as food, water, and space quickly ran out when nobody dies. In addition, Yaoshi kept repeating this pattern by creating more and more living beings, as well as making some immortal, essentially causing huge amounts of problems. Regretting their decision, the Xianzhou Alliance switched sides and decided to instead ally themselves with the Aeon of the Hunt, Lan. Today, the Xianzhou Alliance and Lan travel the cosmos, destroying and killing any of the Plague Author's creations. They do this so that the universe isn't overrun by these creatures and view the creations of the Aeon Yaoshi as abominations. Now in the main storyline, the xianzhou luofu has come under attack from a group called the Sanctus Medicus, who have somehow smuggled a Stellaron onto the world ship. The Sanctus Medicus are a group who venerate the Aeon of Abundance and wish to return to its rule, and why they are looking to destabilize Lan and its followers. Throughout most of the story, and through the efforts of the Stellaron hunters as well, the Nameless and the main character have been on the side of the Xianzhou Alliance. But by the end of this story, we end up encountering the leader of the Sanctus Medicus itself, Danshu. In the final conversation we have with her before she escapes, she mentions that this really isn't a fight that should involve the Nameless. And by the way, it doesn't matter what you chose during that scene, she escapes anyways. She states that the choice between Lan and Yaoshi is one that has to be made by the citizens of the Xianzhou Alliance itself. The Nameless are merely spectators and should not get involved as it really has nothing to do with them. This schism between beliefs is one that spans many years of history, as I mentioned before. But as you know, since we are the protagonists of the story, you can be sure the Nameless will meddle whether they want to or not. And this is where it becomes interesting. Right now, Yaoshi and her followers are set up as the bad guys, while Lan and the Xianzhou Alliance are the good guys. But much like the choice to attack Danshu or not, I have a feeling that in the future, we may have to choose who is right here. Will such a choice be superficial, or will it affect the path that the main character gains? Now, I'm obviously overthinking this. It's very likely that we would side with the Xianzhou Alliance and eventually receive the blessing of Lan to defeat the creatures of Yaoshi. In this scenario, the next path the main character will likely get is the Path of the Hunt, making them a DPS character. If it does turn out that the main character does embrace the hunt, the pattern which we could see is an alternating one. In the Herta space station, we first got the Path of Destruction, which was a DPS. Then in Belobog, we receive Preservation, which was supportive. And now, if we really do get a hunt, it would be another DPS, and the next would then likely be a supportive path, if this pattern continues. It's also unlikely to be Abundance, simply because we have no healers right now except for Natasha, and I think Hoyoverse really wants to sell you on luocha. The other interesting question is what element we would get. This is harder to predict as the elements don't seem to always associate with a specific path, so anything is up for grabs. We could just end up getting an imaginary hunt character, but who really knows? Personally, I would really rather be getting a second healer at this point, so if the choice of path does materialize, I may end up choosing Yaoshi purely for practical reasons. I also wonder what the implications of this choice would be in terms of the lore. If we did side with one Aeon, say for example Lan, Would it mean that Yaoshi ends up distrusting us? I know that in general, the aeons don't really care too much about matters unrelated to their path, and I don't foresee Yaoshi having a grudge against us just because we took sides, but I'm curious how they would bring this up in the future. Anyways, this is just a random discussion I was thinking about, so don't take it too seriously. 1.1 doesn't seem to be coming with any main story content, so this won't be answered anytime soon. It's just a fun distraction to think about in the meantime. What do you think will be the next path for the main character? Let me know in the comments below. I'll end the video here, and if you enjoyed it, do consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. As usual, have a nice day.